wind up going and having a ton of changes to the Indus Valley. So when we discussed our geography of India, one of the things that we talked about was how there was protection around India because it was surrounded by mountains. I'm not presenting. Thank you so much, my dear. You are my favorite heart in my 5B class. Sorry about that. Thank you. Anyways, now that we have that solved, thank you so much. I'm so sorry. We're going to see that they weren't completely protected. Now, the Hindu Kush and Himalayan mountains will stop many invasions in India, but it did not stop the Aryans around 1500 BCE. And we're going to have a situation where we believe the Indus Valley civilization was pretty peaceful, not very warlike. So one strike against them, not prepared for this sort of thing. They thought everything would be okay. But another thing is this Aryan group who were nomads, we think they probably started in Central Asia, like where Russia is today. We know they've moved around a lot. We talked about them actually when we talked about our Persian Achaemenid Empire, how, present-day Iran, historical Persia was, populated by people that called themselves the Aryans. And these people, once again, are on the move, and they have superior military technology. So when the Aryans come to the Indus Valley, to what we believe were a relatively peaceful people, not really too prepared for war, when they came across the iron weapons the Aryans brought, and then the chariots, it was no contest. And one of these things, we've seen this time and time again in history, when people come in with superior military technology, it's very, very hard for people to stop them. The iron weapons would be much stronger than the bronze of the Indus Valley. The chariot is going to be essentially the equivalent of what we use helicopters in war for. They come in quick. I mean, you got Aryan on the back of one of these things, slicing and dicing people, making them look like Swiss cheese, running people over. And you can't touch him because he's so fast with the team of horses pulling him out there. So we think they came from what we call the Khyber Pass, which is in between the Hindu Kush Mountains, a narrow mountain pass. And so, like I said, it took the people of the Indus Valley by surprise. And this is going to be one of those historical events that is going to change things and still affect the world today, which is pretty incredible, because if they attacked around 1500 BCE, that's 3,500 years ago, and still impacting the world. And that's why we study history, because these things, yes, they happened a long time ago, but it's how we got to where we are, and we're still feeling some of the effects. So like I said, our objective today is to look at how the Aryans changed India. So we want to be able to know these things. You're due now tomorrow, I think. Actually, I think it's Friday. Is how did the Aryans change India? Well, first off, they changed their political system. Now we're going to have people called the Raja going and ruling. And these essentially are warrior kings, warrior princes, warrior chiefs. You can translate it a lot of different ways. And we're going to see that term Raja is going to be, continue on throughout history until modern times. We have different Rajas. I teach a Raj. It's something that is now common within there. But we're also going to see a new language developing. The Aryans are going to mix with the people of the Indus Valley, and we're going to see Sanskrit being created. Sanskrit is going to be an ancient written language that thankfully we can actually still read and translate and decipher. And this is how things like the Vedas were written down so that we can have them today. We'll talk about the Vedas more on Monday. Also, the language of Hindi, which is a language spoken by millions of people, starts developing because of the Aryan invasion happening. So a language that gets started 3,500 years ago winds up still being one of the most spoken languages in the world to this day. But even bigger than that is going to be a new religion is created because of the Aryans' beliefs mixing with those of the Indus River Valley. And those are going to be, and that religion is going to wind up being known as Hinduism. Hinduism is one of the world's great religions. It's going to be what we're going to be focusing on starting Monday. Hinduism, we're going to learn a lot about. It's going to be unfamiliar to some of you, and that's okay. It's got a lot of fantastic mythology, a lot of great stories, and a lot of very different and interesting aspects to it. So we're going to start focusing that on Monday. And like I said, it is one of the world's most popular religions. It's the dominant religion in India, but it's global. You go to Southeast Asia, you'll find places that Hinduism is the dominant religion, and you'll see that Hinduism is, a popular religion, even in the United States today. And so we'll start talking about that more on Monday, and also we'll wind up talking about the two religions birthed from Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. A new education system is also created with the introduction of the Aryans to the Indus Valley. And it's going to be a system of having these people called gurus. And these gurus are going to be the teachers. And it's very similar, actually, to our Greek philosophers that we studied in our previous unit. Gurus are going to wind up being much like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, teachers that students will flock to learn, and they're considered experts. We still actually use that word guru today. When I say someone's an expert, when you say someone's an expert, someone, you might say they are a guru. So, for example, Alicia, we could call as a guru about mythology because she knows so many of the myths. And I'm excited for her to hopefully learn some new ones when we get to some Hindu mythology. Although knowing her, she probably already knows them because she's so good. We have the caste system. This is going to be another huge thing that winds up being introduced when we have the Aryans coming to India. Now, the caste system, sometimes called the Varna caste system, sometimes called the Vedic caste system, is essentially going to create a system where there are 4 different classes within the Hindu society in India, and each is going to have its own job and role. Very cool, Aryan. Thanks for sharing. Let me know if I get anything wrong, okay, broski? Don't be shy. So, the caste system is something that is still, it's illegal now. So the caste system is not something that still exists. But until modern times, I believe until the 1940s, it was something that was still actually believed in and enforced. And it's been really cool, actually, because I've had many students who have Indian descent be like, oh, yeah, my caste was Brahmin or Kshatriya or Vaishya. Which is pretty interesting that even though it's something that doesn't play as prominent a role as it did back then, that people still remember for their families. And drawing
You just froze. Yeah, you're frozen.
Okay, well, I'll unfreeze in a second, broski, or potato chip. My internet's being real poopy. But when you go and draw this, please do not add this 5th section. If we were in school right now, I'd be covering that up on the projector and be saying, all right, we move this to the side. So typically when I draw it, I do not have this 5th bottom row and I move it over to the side because it's a very different thing. So like I was saying, there were 4 classes that are created after the Aryan invasion. The top is going to be the Brahmins, which are going to be the religious caste, and the priests. Now, these people are going to have tremendous power and respect given to them. But they're not the rulers, all right? And this is going to be an important thing. The rulers are actually this group called the Kshatriya, which they're going to be the Rajas right there. They're going to be the warriors. They're going to be the rulers. And it kind of makes sense because princes are going to be leading these armies, and they're going to say, hey, I should be the boss. But we're going to see incredible deference to the religious leaders, and we're going to see more about that when we start studying Hinduism in full on Monday. All right. Now, the next group are the Vaishyas. They're going to be our traders, our merchants, our craftsmen, people that have skills and talents, people that are working for the government under the Kshatriya. But one of the things we're going to realize here with this caste system is people don't change caste. Madeline Kate doesn't say, I'm going to get a good education and wind up going up from Sudra to Vaishya. It doesn't happen. People are born into their caste under the Varna caste system for ancient India. So a Vaishya is born a Vaishya, will die a Vaishya, will marry a Vaishya. The children, their grandchildren, will all be Vaishya. All right? Same thing with Kshatriya, Brahmins, Sudras, Pariah. Now, this is going to be a little different for us, but we're going to find out the religious reasons why this system was created. Now, our Sudras are the unskilled workers. They might be servants, they might be farmers, they might be laborers who are building things. And as I was saying, like I said, a Sudra marries a Sudra, a Kshatriya marries a Kshatriya. There's no intermingling. You know, the Kshatriya, their friends are going to be Kshatriya. Sudra's friends will be Sudras. They don't have these mixing of the classes. That fairy tale that people always like to think of where, you know, a poor peasant girl winds up marrying a prince, that does not happen in this society. And there are not only social, but religious reasons why that would not happen. And the whole thing comes with this idea of reincarnation, which we're going to be learning more about on Monday. But this idea that although your body may die, your soul lives on, and that soul will be reborn again. And that's where we get to the pariah, the Aryans, the outcasts, the untouchables. Like I said, I don't put these at the bottom here because they are considered outcasts, meaning they are not in the caste system. And the idea is that these people were in this position because there was something in their past life, or lives, I should say, really, truly, that pushed them so far down that these people, they don't have regular jobs. You know, their jobs would be cleaning the latrines, aka the sewers, where the pee pee poo poo go. You know, it was said that you shouldn't go and have your shadow even touch you know, a untouchable, that you don't look at them. So unfortunately, this created a system where there are a lot of people that were mistreated, and this is partially why the caste system was abolished and made illegal in India in modern times. Although, like I said, some people still remember you know, what caste they were in, or what caste some of the people they know, their families, were in. So we're going to get to way more details about this next week, but I did want to introduce it to you all. That is going to be our, oh, and by the way, how this probably wound up being is obviously the people that came in the Aryans, they were, you know, those people were made Kshatriyas, Brahmins, and probably their lower classes Vaishyas. The people that they conquered, maybe some of their higher classes became Vaishyas, but a lot of them became Sudras. Probably their rulers, they were probably made untouchable. So we think that's how it probably started. And then we're going to, like I said, study the religious reasons for this. So that is our notes for today. I'm going to stop the recording.